Hi fam, my name is Tiffie Starchild for Black Nerd Problems, and I have beef with Avatar: The Last Airbender. Actually, let me stop. No, I don't. I know that it's not a perfect series, but from where I can tell, where I'm sitting right here, it's pretty damn flawless. I have no complaints, but I do have an issue with Legend of Korra. And you don't have to worry, because this is just gonna be a little video, 5 things that I have an issue with, and none of them are gonna be which Avatar is superior. The answer is always Kyoshi. And y'all, please keep in mind that these are all jokes. I'm also well aware that the comic series exists, but I'ma still complain. So, in no particular order, Aang dying at 66 is absolute bullshit. I know that technically it's 166 because of the 100 years that he spent in the Avatar state, and I do not care. Because first of all, that ain't right. What was he supposed to do? What was he supposed to do when him and my boy Apple were at risk? And they say that it drained his life force, his energy, and again, I do not care. Make it make sense. So, Kyoshi lived to be 230. She couldn't slide him none of that. She couldn't whisper that recipe in his ear. Is he not the Avatar? Is he not the physical and spiritual embodiment of life energy? And I understand that in order to get the sequel, in order to get Legend of Korra, we had to lose Aang, because we can only have one Avatar at one time, but I just don't see it as very good story writing. To me, it just kind of reads as lazy. They were like, okay, so the gang is elderly, but they're not too old to do some things. But Aang is dead because that's the only way that we can move this animated series forward. And also, Saka and Suki, and we're never gonna have any of them link up. Which brings me to my next point. I really wish that we had been able to see Katara and Zuko and Toph interact in Legend of Korra. I think where the characters are at that point in their lives, it makes a whole lot of sense. Katara being old in the Southern Water Tribe, Zuko still being pretty badass and old as the retired Fire Lord, and Toph being cantankerous as and old in the swamps. Like, I get it. They live separate lives that are very much in line with their characters, except for Katara a little bit. But we couldn't come together not once, not for one single fight or a game of pie show. We couldn't pour out a little bit of tea and have some juke for our buddy Uncle Iroh and Aang, who tragically passed away so young. And when I tweeted about this, one of the responses that I got consistently is how it's not their show. Okay? I'm sorry, but in my opinion, if Avatar: The Last Airbender didn't get us so invested in the gang, in Sokka, and Katara, and Toph, and Zuko, and Suki, if we weren't interested in these other characters besides just Aang, that series wouldn't have been what it was in the first place. So you ain't feel nothing when Katara mastered waterbending and embarrassed Miss Azula. When Toph, a whole child, invented metal bending and declared herself the best earthbender alive. Zuko's entire story arc, and Saka and Suki couldn't bend, but Saka became a whole warrior. He was trained in fighting styles from every nation, and Suki's flawless, you know. Suki, okay? I don't know about y'all, but I was invested in these stories. So yes, absolutely, I want these characters to interact, and I want to see them in the sequel. The hell? Speaking of Saka and Suki, nothing. So we have this whole weak reason for Aang being dead, but Sokka, and so that was just disrespectful. For me, it was just disrespectful. Sokka and Bolin, those personalities were so similar. Can you imagine if we had gotten a scene between those two? What would Suki's role in this new modern world be? Because I have a feeling that she would have been a lot like Zuko, still badass, going places, doing things. Be great with your winged eyeliner. And I get it, because people die, and so not every member of the gang needs to be there. It's not so unbelievable that some wouldn't make it after all these years, but it was so glossed over after these characters meant so much. I just really don't like that. I love these characters, and I just want to know everything about them at all times, and I don't think that I'm being unreasonable. So this next one is a small complaint, but it really does not make sense to me. We should have seen more of Princess Yue, the moon spirit. To me, this is super obvious. She is literally the moon spirit. Legend of Korra as a show deals heavily with the spirits, and they spend time in the spirit realm. They even spend a whole lot of time in the Northern Water Tribe, where Princess Yue is from. Any interaction with Princess Yue, I feel, would have been great, but especially when you consider all that she's witnessed as the moon over the decades, the rise of Republic City, what Zuko and Aang went through trying to make this unity actually happen. That could have been a really great moment that they completely missed out on. She wasn't even mentioned. It does not make sense to me. And lastly, y'all, Milo is awful. He's ugly. He's annoying. None of his fart jokes were as good as the first one, and the first one wasn't good. His only line of value was be the leaf, and he could have been silent after that, but he wasn't. He's an ugly, gross little comedic attempt, and of all of Aang's progeny, Milo is the one that Aang should be the least proud of. Respectfully. But that's just my opinion, and like I said, y'all, it's all jokes, but I would still love to hear what you have to say, and we can do a part 2 because I have a lot more to complain about. Please make sure that you are following Black Nerd Problems across all social media platforms. You can also follow me as well, Tiffie Starchild, and I will see you next time.